Hey, new leaders, this is Brian Cook. This is a data team meeting that I had with my fourth grade team. We were reviewing our Discovery Education Assessment interim data. So this is our data analysis to look over that. We are identifying 10 deficiencies that we found in reading and math. We'll use those to address over the next 2 weeks. So this is my fourth grade team, and we are looking over the DEA assessment.
And went down and highlighted specifically which ones that they had the biggest problems on and wrote those numbers down. So, all that to say that that is what these sheets are right here. Is to just basically let you know the areas that I identified and saw that they commonly missed. That was about 50% or more that missed it under 40%, if that makes sense. So at least half of your 40% missed the categories that I picked for y'all. So math up top and then language arts at the bottom. Okay?
So the green means something.
Now the green I highlighted, good question. That lines up with what we've got over here. So for up top, this is your reading language arts piece. These are your big chunks, your language vocabulary piece, and then your writing and research. And then for you, it's number and operations and geometry. So that's why we highlighted those in green. All right. So what I tried to do is kind of do the majority of the work for y'all on this. To say that for the next 2 weeks, that's what I really want to focus on with our 40%, making sure we're addressing the specific skills that's getting them ready for this DEAC, so we really can know what they're made of, and we really can plan our instruction going forward once we get DEAC back. All right? So that's what I wanted to look at today with y'all, was filling this in and seeing specifically when you could teach those. So I tried to do the majority of it for you. I've got all the SPIs written out, I've got all the standards written out, I've got the items picked out, but I do want y'all to take a look at it. I've got your test booklets, I've got your work over here, your results over there as well. So if you don't agree with these, I know specifically you said that under geometry and measurement, a lot of that doesn't come up till later on. If there's something that you see that you're just not going to be able to get to, or it's a completely new skill that you're not going to be able to cover in those 2 weeks, that's what we're going to do is re-identify some skills on that. Looking for about 10 skills that we can reteach in the next 2 weeks. Does that sound about right? Is that too many to cover?
Some of these I've already touched bases on.
And to make it even easier, I want to try to, I'll put the common assessment together for y'all. So I'll take the common assessment off your plate. Like I said, I try to do as much of the homework as I could for y'all on Sunday and put that together for you so you wouldn't have to go back and look up all the SPIs for the questions and all that. So I'm sorry, go ahead. You were saying some of these you've already taken a look at and covered?
Yeah, for some of these, yeah, at the time we haven't covered, like problem solution, we covered that last week. And main idea, visual, main idea, points and stuff. With some of these we have already covered since then.
Okay. And that's why we're sitting down looking. So I think I picked out a little over 10 for each of you, but you know, you see more that you want to add, take away some that you've already covered. When you say covered, we retaught those, correct? So that was your 30 and 44 was your the factors, the greatest common factors and lowest common multiples, whatever. Okay, and you think they've got that down pretty well now? Okay, good. Because I do remember seeing that in your class. I was surprised because I couldn't remember if you taught that prior to.
I had taught it, but I didn't teach it that way.
Okay.
I didn't teach it where, like, they understood how to find the factors of the number, they understood how to find the multiples, but they didn't understand which number is a multiple of both this and this. So they figured if I got to, for instance, if they were giving the number of 28 and 35, which number is a multiple of, a factor of both 28 and 35? If 4 was the first answer, or first answer choice, that would be 28 divided by 4. Okay, well, I have the remainder 0, so that's the 1. They didn't do 35 divided by 4. So try that with
Gotcha.
conversions. I don't think that's coming at the end. I don't know if that's going to be done unless I skip solids and mix, because that's what's next. But right now I'm doing area and perimeter.
Well, area and perimeters up there, so that's fine. Now, we've got 3 different times we can look at teaching these skills, at least 3 times, right? We've got your 15-minute mini lesson, we've got your 45-minute block, and then we got your 40% time.
I can use my vocabulary center, I can use 40%.
Okay. Now, the other thing I saw with most of these skills that I pulled, maybe one or two of them were a little bit odd, but for the most part, if they're 40% missed it, or 60% missed it as well. So that does free you up to whereas if you addressed one of these skills with that 45-minute instructional time as well, you're still applying it to all those kids. All these kids need that. So if there's something you see here that you want to reteach or introduce, like you were saying, you still have that luxury of being able to put that in your 45-minute time because everybody needs that specific skill. Does that make sense? So I'm fine either way with it, just as long as we address. I think 10 is probably a pretty good number. If y'all tell me that's too much, too little, whatever, let me know. But I think 10 is probably a pretty good way we can really attack that and make sure we're prepping good for that next discovery assessment.
So, okay, it's 10 of these skills you want us to attack, right?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna do one a day, is that what you said?
Well, you can do more than one a day. I mean, it really doesn't depend. I'm going to leave that up to y'all as far as that. You know better than me specifically what you can cover. And it may be something simple. It may be you can do a 15-minute mini lesson here. You can do that in your 45 minutes instruction. You can do that in your 40% group. So you may even knock out 3 in that if you want. But, you know, so I'm not going to specifically tell you the time that you have to do that. That part I was going to leave up to y'all to specifically say, Mr. Cook, this is going to be the best time to cover this. I've already taught this, so I can cover that in a 15-minute lesson. And some of them to show you, pull them up on here as well. Some of them weren't even. This is 40% focused. This is specifically what your 40%, 50% or more of your 40% missed these items on that test.
So as far as reteaching, are we focusing on reteaching only 40%? Or are we focusing on reteaching the entire class?
Well, you can do it either way. That's the thing. The biggest thing I want us to make sure is we get our 40% knocked out, in all honesty, because I want to make sure our 40% are proficient. And that's what we're really trying to shoot for this year. But, since like I said, this right here applies specifically to your 40%, but there's a very strong chance only maybe 1 or 2 of these, I think, didn't apply to your 60% or were, you know, maybe in the yellow or something like that. But the majority of your 60% missed those as well. So, and I can pull those up and show you, but it was the majority of it. You can actually look on your last 2 pages in your results, and it'll kind of show you which ones didn't quite match up. But the majority of them, I think, line pretty well. So, it was your 60%.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that, yeah, because if you're 40% misses 30, you're 60%.
And that's, well, yeah, and that's why y'all identified them. Now, I know your groups have changed up a little bit, and I'll try to update that just for the next time I look at this. But, so I went specifically off what the charts had, since I don't want to harass y'all on Sunday night when y'all were probably watching the Super Bowl. So, I came up here and copied those down off the chart. So, although it's changed some, it still probably holds fairly true, because that's what we based our first decision off of anyway with the EAB, if I remember right, when we sat down and looked. Was it B or A?
Well, it was also TCAP scores.
Yeah, it was TCAP scores as well. So. But either way, it'll give us a start and then let us know.
I don't want to try giving him this book back and letting them do these questions over again to see if they will miss these questions. Because I'm really not convinced that some of this stuff they didn't understand. I'm really convinced that they just want me to pick an answer, honestly. Because if this is the area and they're telling you area equals many times, you mean to tell me you don't understand how to multiply them? And I think most of them probably could be they just added them up instead of multiplying.
You hadn't taught that yet? So yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, they'll master it now. Yeah, certainly they would. Yeah, certainly they would. I would agree with you too. Even with our 40%, you could do that. Or you could even like copy some of those sheets and even let them do the homework, you know, 40% when they come back in.
Intervention and just give them like all of these questions, go through the answer, just to see what they chose or what they would choose this time.
To see what they did choose the first time. For some reason, a bunch of them put B.
I told you, that's what I said, B.
Okay.
Oh, they did B? Oh, they added
D is
them
the
together.
answer, but B is what they chose.
Yeah, it's like you said, they didn't know. Yeah, they didn't know.
So, that's the big thing I want y'all with this right here is just to record all I really need from you guys today, since I've already got the standards, the items, SPIs, and strategies, what would be the strategy or the misconception. So specifically for that item, which is number 4, are we reteaching that one or what?
Well, I just started it today. That's
Okay.
the skill that's been taught today.
Okay, good.
So I'm not sure if I need to reteach it because it was taught today.
Right.
And the way that I taught it today was, basically
Stick it in the calculator.
Yeah,
Just the answer.
multiplication.
You can still put that on here. The main thing I want is to make sure we address as many of these. If y'all don't like the ones that I've chosen, pick a different one and explain why you want that one, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying? So you can go ahead and use 4. You can put item 4 on here, and you can say you've already addressed that. You can even put today as your date. Because some of it I realize, yeah, it's gonna be covered during this week and then possibly during pacing next week and the week after.
So now my 15-minute reteach is no longer from the common assessment, it's from the scope.
For the next 2 weeks, not this week, but the 2 weeks coming up, yes. Talk to me about that though. Concerns, problems with that, what you think?
Well, because the skills that I was 50% of the students' minutes, that was part of the 15, that was the minutes, the 15-minute minutes, because I had no other time to reteach.
So you're talking about your common assessment scores?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do your common assessments to any of those specific skills align with what's being missed on Discovery right now?
The one that we did last week, before.
Well, that'd be one right there. You can line up perfect. So I would use that one right there. If you're saying that lines up, then I would use that one. If we can marry the two, that's going to make it a lot easier. That'll save you the trouble right there for having to distinguish between.
Surely that's not one-on-one talk.
So here's this. Just to give you a heads up on it. Try to make it pretty simple for the most part. I know the standard. Yeah. I'm writing down for you. Strategy or misconception. What you can do with it this time specifically to get across to a misconception that might be the first one you should say. And then over here, just when you look at your day, and then you know, it might be 15 minutes, let's say 40% re-instructor, the time, 45-minute time, and then more specifically the chart process.
Okay, so you said misconception. Really, I have to really ask them, you know, what were they thinking when they chose this particular answer versus me just going on, you know, my hypothesis. I really have to ask them that. So I
Well,
gotta ask them.
and we ran a little short on time, and we're going to go a little bit over the
This right here.
Go ahead.
Do I put, okay, if I have number 44 and number 30, but are the same questions, they're worded exactly the same, well, the one is factors, one is multiple, but it's the same concept.
You can cover both on the same day and same time.
Okay, if I've already covered it, and I can go back and look at how it was retaught to see if the students passed it, what do you want to put there? Because factors and multiples have been retaught. That was one of my
And you know they got it.
intervention skills.
Okay.
I mean, I could
That's
do
gonna
it
be
again.
Well, but that's going to be the common assessment I'll put together. So whatever y'all put together on this paper will be the common assessment that I'll put together for y'all. And that'll be what we give them that Friday before the DEA week, if that makes sense, which is what I put on the calendar over here. So that right there, that'll be the DEA ones. From what y'all put on here, that's what I'll put together for you and give your students that weekend. So would you rather, do you want to put that down there, or would you rather cover a different skill? Okay. So if you feel they got it, that'd be a good chance to reassess them. You assessed them again since the common assessment since then? Okay, so then we can do that. That'll be perfect.
So put those in there.
I would, yeah. If you haven't assessed them yet with a common assessment, that'll be a good time to find out whether they know it or not, or what they've got.
Who's on the intervention system?
So you have reassessed them?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you reassessed them and you think they've got it, I can move on to something else. But if you don't think they've got it, or you haven't been able to reassess them, okay. So, and I'll probably put 2 to 3 skills on there, or 2 to 3 questions for each one. Job preference.
For each, about for a particular skill.
How many do we need to put in
You're gonna put down about 10, yeah. And then I'll put together 2 to 3 questions per SPI or per question or per skill that y'all address.
I know.
I don't know why. It's just
I
me.
know. You got the t-shirt. You gotta present. I see them. I don't want to say anything. I don't say anything.
It's because y'all are firing questions at me. I'm just kidding. Are y'all cold?
No, I'm good.
I'm just sweating up in my room, just sitting still, not doing anything.
Going
Couldn't
through the
drink
change.
water. I guess I am. They asked me the other day, they said, Mr. Curtis, sounds like your voice has changed. Part of it too, so I don't know what's going on.
So, now, I'm talking about problems and solutions. That's a skill that I